Bridget Fonda is currently living somewhere in Los Angeles, and Hollywood has absolutely no idea what to do with that fact. She is not on social media. She does not give interviews. She does not attend events, premieres, or reunions. She is completely invisible in an industry that depends on visibility. And here is what makes this so bizarre. This is not some forgotten actress from decades ago that nobody remembers. This is someone who was everywhere in the 90s, who came from literal Hollywood royalty, who had the talent and looks and connections to stay famous forever. And she just walked away completely, without explanation, without a comeback attempt, without even acknowledging that she used to be one of the most recognizable faces in film. So what really happened? And why did someone born into Hollywood fame choose to disappear so thoroughly that people question if she even exists anymore? Today, we will be diving into what really happened to Bridget Fonda. How being born into the most famous acting family in Hollywood shaped her entire life. Why the pressure of the Fonda name was something she could never escape. How she broke out in the early 90s and became one of the era's most interesting actresses. What her peak years looked like when she was the cool, unconventional it girl of Hollywood. Why the constant cycle of work and exposure was quietly destroying her. What happened in the 2003 car accident that changed everything. Why she chose never to return to acting even when opportunities came. What her life looks like now, living completely outside celebrity culture. Why the internet lost its mind over paparazzi photos years later. And whether walking away from fame when you are born into it is even possible, or if you are always just hiding. But you know what will never hide? Your support for this channel. So hit that subscribe button, and let us get on with the video. Bridget Fonda was born in 1964 into a family where fame was not an aspiration, it was an inheritance. Her father was Peter Fonda, the counterculture icon of Easy Rider who defined a generation. Her grandfather was Henry Fonda, one of the greatest actors in Hollywood history, the man who represented dignity and integrity on screen for decades. Her aunt was Jane Fonda, who became a massive star, a political activist, and one of the most famous women in the world. This was not a family with some connection to entertainment. This was Hollywood royalty in the truest sense. The Fonda name meant something. It carried weight and history and expectations that were suffocating. Growing up in that environment meant fame was never really a choice. It was just the reality of your life from birth. Bridget was photographed as a child. She attended events with her family. She grew up around sets and actors and directors. The film industry was not some distant dream. It was just what her family did. And with that came enormous pressure. People expected her to act. They assumed she would follow the family business. And if she did act, she would be compared constantly to her father and grandfather and aunt. Every role, every performance, every choice would be measured against what the Fondas had already achieved. That is not inspiration, that is a burden. She started acting young, appearing in small roles through the 80s, but her serious career began in 1988 with Scandal, a British film about the Profumo affair, where she played a showgirl. Then, in 1989, she appeared in Shag, a coming-of-age film that nobody really remembers. These were not major breakthroughs, just the typical early work of a young actress trying to establish herself. But the Fonda name got her opportunities that other unknown actresses would not have received. That is the advantage and the curse of the family legacy. Doors open more easily, but people always question whether you deserve to walk through them. Her real breakthrough came in 1990 with The Godfather Part 3. She played a photojournalist in Francis Ford Coppola's long-awaited sequel to two of the greatest films ever made. The movie was controversial and often criticized, especially Sofia Coppola's performance. Bridget Fonda stood out. She held her own in a film filled with legendary actors and massive expectations. The role proved she could handle big productions and serious directors, and it legitimized her as an actress, not just a famous name trading on family connections. Through the early 1990s, she built a career that was genuinely impressive. Single white female in 1992 made her a name mainstream audiences recognized. She played the roommate from Hell opposite Jennifer Jason Leigh in a psychological thriller that was a genuine hit. The role showed she could handle intensity and darkness. That same year, she appeared in Singles, Cameron Crowe's Seattle grunge romance that captured a cultural moment. She was effortlessly cool in that film, playing a woman navigating relationships and ambitions in a way that felt real and modern. In 1993, she starred in Point of No Return, an American remake of the French film La Femme Nikita. She played an assassin trained by the government. It was a serious action role that showed her range. She demonstrated that she could do drama, thriller, action, romance, everything. And she did it while maintaining a quality that set her apart from typical Hollywood actresses of that era. She was not trying to be the girl next door. She was not playing it safe. She had edge and mystery and an unconventional beauty that stood out. By the mid-90s, Bridget Fonda was everywhere. In 1994, she was in It Could Happen to You with Nicolas Cage, a charming romantic comedy that showed she could handle lighter material. Jackie Brown in 1997 was Quentin Tarantino's follow-up to Pulp Fiction, and Bridget played a strung-out surfer girl criminal in a performance that was funny, dangerous, and memorable despite being a supporting role. Working with Tarantino at the height of his powers gave her serious credibility with film fans. She was in A Simple Plan in 1998, a dark thriller that earned critical praise. She consistently chose interesting projects with accomplished directors. What made her the 90s it girl was not just the roles, it was the image. She had a cool, slightly mysterious quality. She did not do constant interviews where she revealed everything about herself. She did not desperately seek publicity or manufacture a personality for the media. She showed up, did great work, and maintained privacy and dignity. In an era when celebrities were becoming more accessible and overexposed, Bridget Fonda felt like a star from an earlier Hollywood era, where stars kept their mystique. That made her more interesting. The critical praise was consistent. She earned respect from serious film critics, while also being commercially successful enough that studios wanted to cast her. That balance is incredibly difficult to achieve. Most actors are either art house favorites who do not make money, or commercial stars who do not get critical respect. Bridget Fonda managed to be both. She was in films that made money and films that mattered. She worked with major directors and held her own. For about a decade, from the late 80s to the late 90s, she had the kind of career any actress would envy. But behind that success was the reality of what being a working actress in Hollywood actually means. The schedule is relentless. You are either filming, which means 12-hour days for months, or you are promoting something, which means traveling constantly, doing interviews, press junkets, and premieres. Then you are preparing for the next role, which means reading scripts, taking meetings, and negotiating deals. There is no actual downtime. The machine keeps moving, and you have to move with it, or you fall behind. And all of this happens while your every outfit, your relationships, and any weight fluctuation gets photographed and analyzed. The loss of privacy during her peak years was total. She could not go anywhere without being recognized. She could not have a relationship without it becoming tabloid fodder. She dated Eric Stoltz for 8 years, and the entire relationship was public property. Every date, every appearance together, every rumor about the relationship status was documented. When they broke up, it was news. When she dated other people, it was news. The famous name that had opened doors also meant she could never be anonymous. People felt entitled to know about her life because she was a Fonda, and because she was famous. There were quiet signs that she was already pulling away even during her peak. She started doing fewer films in the late 90s. She was more selective. She turned down projects that would have been major hits. She gave fewer interviews. The enthusiasm that had been there in her early career seemed to be fading. People in the industry noticed, but assumed it was just the normal career adjustments actors make. Maybe she was being choosy. Maybe she was taking time off. Nobody thought she was planning to disappear. Then, in 2003, everything changed. Bridget Fonda was in a serious car accident on the Pacific Coast Highway in Los Angeles. Her car rolled over. She suffered vertebrae injuries in her back and had to be hospitalized. The physical injuries were serious enough that she needed significant recovery time. This was not a minor accident you bounce back from in a few weeks. This was the kind of injury that requires months of healing, physical therapy, pain management, and genuine uncertainty about whether you will fully recover. The accident forced her to stop working completely. She had been cast in projects that had to be recast. Her career momentum, which had been building for over a decade, stopped instantly. And during that recovery period, something shifted. Whether it was the physical pain, the time away from the industry, the space to think about what she actually wanted, or just hitting a breaking point with Hollywood, she made a decision. She was not going back. The decision not to return to acting was not announced dramatically. There was no press release or retirement statement. She just did not come back. Scripts came in and she passed. Opportunities were offered and she declined. Comeback roles were suggested and she said no. Hollywood kept waiting for her to return because that is what actors do. They take breaks and they come back. Bridget Fonda did not come back. She was done. In 2003, the same year as the accident, she married Danny Elfman, the legendary film composer who had worked with Tim Burton and created some of the most iconic movie scores in history. This was not a publicity-driven Hollywood marriage. This was someone choosing a partner who understood the entertainment industry but was not chasing fame himself. Elfman had already achieved everything professionally. He did not need red carpets and public attention. They could build a private life together away from the spotlight. And that is exactly what they did. They had a son together, and Bridget Fonda dedicated herself to being a mother and wife. She stopped attending events. She stopped doing interviews. She stopped being photographed. She effectively removed herself from celebrity culture completely. This is incredibly rare. Most people who grow up famous or become famous in their 20s stay famous in some way forever. They cannot help it. They are addicted to the attention, or they need the work financially, or they just do not know how to exist without being recognized. Bridget Fonda walked away so completely that years would pass without a single public photo of her. The media was confused by this. Entertainment journalists did not understand it. Where was she? Why was she not working? Why was she not capitalizing on her famous name and past success? There were rumors she had retired because of the accident injuries. Some suggested she could not work because of chronic pain. Others speculated she had had a breakdown or developed stage fright or lost confidence. The speculation was constant because people could not accept that someone would simply choose to stop being famous. But the reality appears to be much simpler. She did not want to do it anymore. The accident gave her permission to stop. It created a natural break where she could step away without it seeming like a dramatic rejection of Hollywood. She had achieved success. She had proven herself as an actress. She had lived up to the Fonda name. She had done everything the industry asked of her. And now she was done. She had money from her work and from her husband's success. She had a family. She had a life that did not require public performance. Why would she go back? The life she built out of the spotlight is almost completely private. She lives in Los Angeles with Danny Elfman. They have a home that is not in the center of Hollywood, but set away from the constant celebrity chaos. She raises their son. She has friends and interests and a daily life that has nothing to do with film or fame. When she goes to the grocery store or runs errands, she is just a regular person. Most people do not recognize her anymore. The few who do generally respect her privacy. She has achieved what most celebrities claim to want but never actually commit to: complete anonymity, despite being famous. The rare public appearances are so infrequent they become news when they happen. If she is photographed at an airport or leaving a restaurant with her husband, it becomes a story. Entertainment sites publish the photos with headlines that she looks unrecognizable, or that she is spotted after years away from the spotlight. These articles are often vaguely judgmental, as if she owes the public her continued beauty and visibility. The subtext is that she has let herself go, that she has aged, that she is no longer the Bridget Fonda people remember from the 90s. This reaction reveals how society treats women who age outside Hollywood's rules. If you are a woman who is famous for being beautiful, you are expected to maintain that beauty forever through whatever means necessary. Surgery, treatments, extreme diets, constant work, anything to preserve the image that made you famous. Women who do not do this, who just age naturally and live normal lives, are treated as failures. Paparazzi photos of Bridget Fonda that occasionally surface get cruel comments online. People express shock at how she looks. They compare current photos to her 90s peak and act betrayed that she has aged like a normal human being. But here is what those reactions miss. Bridget Fonda does not care. She is not trying to maintain her image as a 90s it girl. She is not competing with younger actresses or fighting to stay relevant. She has completely opted out of the system that judges women so harshly. That takes courage. Most people do not have. It is easier to stay in Hollywood and accept the pressure and criticism than it is to walk away completely. She walked away and never looked back. Why she never came back has multiple answers, and they are all valid. The mental and emotional toll of fame was clearly more than she wanted to continue bearing. Being watched constantly, judged constantly, having no privacy, and having every relationship and choice dissected publicly that destroys people. Many celebrities develop serious mental health issues from that pressure. Bridget Fonda seemed to have recognized it was destroying her and chose to remove herself before permanent damage was done. The financial pressure that forces most actors to keep working does not apply to her. She made good money during her decade-plus career. She is married to Danny Elfman, who is worth tens of millions from his composing work. She does not need to work. Most actors cannot afford to retire. They keep taking roles well past the point where they want to because they need the income. Bridget Fonda has the privilege of choosing not to work without financial consequences. That freedom is rare and powerful. Hollywood's obsession with youth made her decision easier in a dark way. She was in her late 30s when she stopped working. That is exactly when the industry starts offering actresses mother roles and supporting parts instead of leads. The romantic lead opportunities disappear. The interesting, complex roles go to younger women. She could see where her career was headed. She could either fight to stay relevant and accept lesser roles, or she could walk away with dignity. She chose dignity. Her comfort with being forgotten by the industry is perhaps the most radical aspect of her story. Most actors desperately fear irrelevance. They will do reality television, embarrassing cameos, desperate comeback attempts, anything to stay in the public eye. Bridget Fonda accepted that people would forget her. She accepted that new generations would not know who she was. She accepted that her work would become history rather than current. That acceptance requires genuine emotional maturity and security that most people in entertainment never develop. The public reaction to her disappearance and the occasional paparazzi photos shows how uncomfortable her choice makes people. The internet creates entire threads analyzing why she left, where she is, and what she looks like now. The tone is always slightly judgmental, as if she has broken some unspoken contract. When you are born into Hollywood royalty and achieve your own fame, people feel entitled to your continued performance. Your withdrawal feels like betrayal. How dare you stop entertaining us? How dare you age naturally? How dare you choose privacy over our curiosity? But the real story is not a downfall or a tragedy. There is no scandal, no addiction, no breakdown, no dark secret that explains her absence. She simply chose to stop. She chose her family, privacy, and peace over fame, work, and public recognition. That is a deliberate exit, not a failure. The entertainment industry and the public have trouble accepting this because it challenges the fundamental assumption that fame is always desirable, that success in Hollywood is the ultimate achievement, that anyone lucky enough to have it would never voluntarily give it up. Bridget Fonda's choice to leave proves those assumptions wrong. Fame is not always worth it. Success in Hollywood comes with costs that not everyone wants to pay. And the courage to walk away when you have achieved everything the industry values is its own form of strength. She did not fail at Hollywood. She succeeded at Hollywood and then decided she was done. There is a huge difference. Her legacy in 90s cinema is secure whether she ever acknowledges it or not. Single White Female is still watched and referenced. Jackie Brown is considered one of Tarantino's best films, and her performance holds up. Point of No Return was a solid action film that showcased her range. She worked with Coppola, Tarantino, the Coen brothers, and other major directors at the height of their powers. Her work is part of film history. That cannot be taken away just because she is not around to promote it or discuss it in retrospective interviews. What keeps her roles culturally relevant decades later is that they were genuinely good. She made smart choices. She worked with interesting directors. She brought depth and edge to characters that could have been forgettable. Younger people discovering her films on streaming platforms are impressed by the performances. The work speaks for itself. Her absence does not diminish what she achieved. If anything, the mystery around her disappearance makes her more interesting to new audiences discovering her filmography. The rarity of someone walking away completely is what makes her story so fascinating. Name another major actress from a legendary Hollywood family who achieved significant success and then just stopped. It basically does not happen. Even actresses who take extended breaks eventually come back. Even those who move into other careers maintain some connection to their Hollywood past. Bridget Fonda severed that connection almost entirely. She is not doing cameos in her husband's projects. She is not appearing at Fonda family events. She is not doing Where Are They Now interviews. She is just gone. Redefining success on her own terms is the real achievement here. Hollywood defines success as continued visibility, more work, bigger roles, awards, recognition, legacy building. Bridget Fonda rejected all of that and defined success as peace, privacy, family, and freedom from public scrutiny. By Hollywood standards, she disappeared and failed. By her own standards, she escaped and succeeded. Which definition matters more, the industries or the individuals? Looking at her complete story, what stands out is how much control she ultimately took. She was born into fame she did not choose. She succeeded in an industry that is brutal to women. She dealt with the pressure, the exposure, and the loss of privacy for over a decade. And then she chose to stop on her own terms. The accident gave her the opportunity, but she made the choice. She could have come back after recovering. She could have done selective work. She could have maintained some presence. She chose not to. That level of commitment to her choice is impressive. The fact that her absence still fascinates people 20 years later proves something. We are drawn to people who reject what everyone else wants. Fame is supposed to be the goal. Celebrity is supposed to be the dream. Someone who achieves both and then walks away challenges our assumptions about what matters. Bridget Fonda makes people uncomfortable because she represents a choice most people cannot imagine making. She had everything Hollywood offers and decided it was not worth having. Maybe that is her greatest achievement. Not her performances or her career or her famous family name, but her complete rejection of an industry that demands endless devotion. She proved you can walk away. You can choose something else. You can decide that fame is not worth the cost and actually follow through on that decision without looking back. In an era where everyone is desperately seeking visibility and attention, someone choosing invisibility feels almost revolutionary. Whether disappearing was her greatest success depends on how you measure success. If success is work and recognition and legacy and impact, then her 90s career was her peak. But if success is peace and autonomy and choosing your own life without outside pressure, then walking away and staying away for over 20 years is the greatest success possible. Both can be true. Both are impressive for different reasons. The question of whether she wants to be remembered is one only she can answer, and she has made it clear through her actions that she does not care. She is not building her legacy or managing her image or worried about how history judges her work. She lived through her fame, survived it, and moved on. That was her choice. The rest of us are still fascinated by it because we cannot imagine making her choice. But she has already made it and lived it and apparently has no regrets. That's as close to winning as anyone gets. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, please comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And as ever, I really do look forward to seeing you all in the next one.